earnings, the biggest benefit that you're going to notice with Skillshare is in today's video, we're going to be doing an updated look at how much people make on Skillshare. So you guys know I've been sharing pretty openly about my journey teaching on Skillshare. I have been teaching since May of 2020 and it's now March of 2022. And I've really loved the process. I've loved sharing it over here on YouTube, and hopefully you guys have been enjoying it too. So if you want to find out how I earned over 10,000 US dollars on Skillshare, then please keep on watching. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Megs, and every week I release tech tutorials helping you do digital better. If you're new to my channel, I just want to bring you up to speed in terms of how I actually started teaching on Skillshare, because it was quite a journey for me. So about 5 years ago, I founded an online education business from the deep desire to help other people in South Africa specifically, as that's where I'm located, with getting younger people into the digital marketing industry. It's something I'm so passionate about, and the classes or courses that you can do online in South Africa are pretty expensive. The ones that are most popular are about 13,000 Rand. I'll put the dollar equivalent on the screen. And that is kind of what people do. So it was before this really kind of mainstream awareness for platforms like Udemy and Skillshare. So I was hosting an 8-week online social media marketing course, which was on a platform called Teachable. And it was only later that I started to realize that, of course, in order to entice people to take a course from an unknown person, I would have to do a lot of marketing. And that's really where this YouTube journey began. But what I also realized in so doing was that something like YouTube was really going to get me a lot more exposure than something like Teachable ever was, because it was incredibly searchable. And so it kind of started me on this journey of looking for marketplaces to teach, because the way I explain it is really, it's about fishing where the fish are with marketplaces. So yes, for sure, you can self-host, but you'd have to do longer courses, which are much more expensive. And you'd really have to entice people to A, get to your website or your landing page, B, convert, and then C, the lifetime value of that customer is really going to depend on how quickly you can bring out more premium courses. So I then started to get a lot more interested in terms of this marketplace side of online courses, which are the much more affordable, cheap options like Udemy and Skillshare. So although I liked both platforms equally and I could really see that they were quite different, I did notice that the teaching experience specifically was very distinct in terms of the two platforms. So whereas as a customer, I found that I had a good experience on both platforms, when it came to teaching, I found that Skillshare was a lot more of a pleasant experience in terms of getting up and running. So I'm still of the opinion that Skillshare is a better option to get started with. However, what I do always say is it'll come down to your topic. So if you have a more technical topic, then of course do look at Udemy too. So Skillshare does kind of have this perception, and I guess it is true. It's more like artists in Brooklyn teaching how to do watercolors. Like, that's really kind of the cliche around Skillshare. To a certain degree, that is the truth, but to another degree, you know what, it's actually a really diverse platform. I've noticed, especially the more recent initiatives have really tried to encourage more diversity on the platform. And I think specifically post-COVID, and there is a lot of job insecurity around, it did force a lot more people to consider teaching online that maybe wouldn't have previously. So I was not one of those people. I was definitely already trying to get the online teaching thing up and running. It just so happened that I stumbled upon Skillshare at this point. I have discussed it in a bit more detail in some of my other videos, but effectively I watched an Ali Abdal video on YouTube which shared exactly how much money he was making from Skillshare, and was delighted to find out that it's not just the British and the US markets that can actually teach online. It's literally anywhere. So being in South Africa, we're so used to things not being applicable to us. I was really delighted that we were fully able to teach on Skillshare and get paid timeously. In terms of earnings, the biggest benefit that you're going to notice with Skillshare is you will start to earn money immediately. To be honest, I really thought that this was too good to be true, but that is honestly how it works. So there's two key ways in which you'll get paid. The first is from premium minutes watched. So in the same way that with YouTube, you have your 1,000 subscribers and your 4,000 hours watch time, and you start earning money with AdSense. With Skillshare, it's that same premium minutes model, but you're not having to come up to those thresholds in order to start earning. Anyone who creates a teacher profile and starts teaching on Skillshare is actually going to be able to earn. And then the second way is through affiliate links, which Skillshare refers to as referrals. So you will earn $10 for every person that you send to the Skillshare platform. So what's fantastic about this is it's kind of like doing a twofold exercise for you whenever you do your marketing, is even if someone then does not enroll to my specific courses, by virtue of the fact that they've signed up with my link, I'm still getting paid in some way. Ideally speaking, of course, you'd want to click on my referral link, maybe in my YouTube description link below, and then you would actually end up doing one of my courses, so I'd then get premium minutes as well. So when you see your breakdown and the breakdown that I'll show you guys, you'll see that it's always quite distinctly different, where they differentiate between the premium minutes versus the referrals. So you effectively will get an email on the 16th of every month telling you that you've been paid, and this comes through a service called Tipalti. In the past it used to be through PayPal, but I'm guessing because of PayPal's exorbitant fees, and to be honest, I think I had about a week delay in getting paid when it was with PayPal, whereas now with Tipalti it's a lot more immediate. I think it's like 1 or 2 days. There were a number of reasons, obviously, that Skillshare chose to move on across, and so now you will get an email from Tipalti telling you what you've been paid and how much you've been paid. So the reason why it varies so much month to month is because Skillshare allocates a portion of their total revenue according to the percentage of premium minutes that have been watched in total, opposed to what's been watched of your course specifically. So the actual royalty pool is changing in size every month. So for example, January is historically always a brilliant month for Skillshare. Obviously, a lot of people have the best of intentions and New Year's resolutions to get started, which means you get that really big royalty pool. There are a lot of people coming into the platform and actually watching, which means that it's probably more likely that the royalty pool is bigger and that you'll receive a bigger paycheck in January. But then obviously a lot of it is within your control, because the more you're releasing courses, the bigger that percentage you as an individual instructor are obviously taking up of that full royalty pool. So that is why it does differ quite substantially. The other thing to bear in mind is obviously that because of the payment model from a customer perspective, Skillshare is working like a Netflix would, where you're paying a set fee per month and you're not buying Megs Hollis's courses. You are buying into the catalog of content, of which you may choose to sign up for Ali Abdul's courses, you may choose to sign up for MKBHD's courses. These are all brilliant courses, by the way, so definitely do check those out. Or you could choose to do social media marketing courses with me, which is also a really good option. Obviously, I'll say that, but it doesn't actually mean that because you are paying a specific fee that it's going to one specific course. It's giving you access to that full library. They did have more generous offers in the past where you used to get like up to 3 months free, I believe, on Skillshare. Now I think the trials are quite short, if at all, so they really have kind of seem to have got to that place in their company where they don't have to buy that credibility. It feels like everyone is very much on board with the fact that it is quality learning content. So by virtue of that, the trials have gotten a bit shorter. I stand to be corrected, but I think it's currently 2 weeks. So even though you may not sign up immediately, hopefully you'll convert into a paid customer. The other question that I do get often is whether you have to be a paid subscription holder in order to teach on Skillshare. So the answer, thankfully, is no. So what I would suggest you do is sign up for a free trial. Obviously, you're welcome to use my link below, or, you know, just go into Skillshare.com and then you can sign up for the 2-week trial. Then if you're enjoying it and you haven't yet binge watched every piece of content on Skillshare, because there's also that phase of lockdown that we all kind of went through, you can then choose to have your premium subscription. But you don't have to keep that on and on forever. So I kind of got to a point, and it probably was, to be honest, very much coinciding with the timings of the COVID pandemic and the lockdown, where suddenly we went back to our day jobs and there really wasn't any time for me to spend watching a lot of Skillshare classes. So then I would just cancel my subscription. A year or two would pass. Even though I was teaching the whole time in that time, I would then reenact my subscription and so forth. So even though you may think, oh my gosh, I don't want to pay that every month to be a teacher and then potentially not earn that back. Thankfully, that is just not the case. I'm currently not a live Skillshare member, although I do activate it on and off pretty much all the time. So when one of my favorite creators that I'm following on Skillshare will create a new class, like for example, Maggie Stara, she has the most amazing marketing classes too. I will see that she's released a new class, maybe her Canva one, and I'll be like, oh my gosh, amazing, cannot wait to watch Maggie's class, and then I'll reactivate my membership. So that's also a really great thing to bear in mind. So with all that those caveats in place, let's actually jump into exactly what it looks like from the back end of the platform so that you can start to get a feel of what you'll see if you become an instructor on Skillshare. Although I do consume courses on the Skillshare app, I don't find that it's particularly instructor friendly. So if I'm trying to access things like my stats, I find that it normally just clicks me out to the mobile site in any case. The mobile site, if you then go to teach and to the drop down your teacher stats, it'll boot you out to the desktop view in any case. So my piece of advice would just be, sadly, it's not really mobile first when it comes to your analytics or your stats. You really are going to want to actually just head on over to the desktop version of the site up front. So you will see here, as I said, I've of course crossed this $10,000 mark. I've earned 10,111 US dollars. It also gives you a tally of the total students that are busy taking your classes, as well as the minutes that have been watched by these students, and the fact that I've received 107 reviews. In this gray box below, it'll be the current month. So for example, today is the 22nd of March, so it'll be my March earnings. So the one thing that is a little bit confusing in terms of how you get paid out is that, as I said, it's the 16th of every month. So this report, this little gray block of reporting will actually remain as is. So it'll say March, even until the 14th, 15th of April. And then you'll see that on the 16th, the figures that are in this gray blocks, like the 550 royalty or the 40 month to date referral earnings, will then ping across to that top left hand corner. It'll update that full stat, and then this will actually start saying April earnings, which will appear like that until the 16th of May. So that was something that took a little bit of getting used to. As I said, they do of course distinguish very strongly between the month to date royalty earnings and the month to date referral earnings. The way in which you can encourage people to sign up with your link is by having things like a YouTube channel. Potentially you have a mailing list. I'm sure you have your own personal social media handles. You might have business related social media handles. You want to be using your referral link across the board. So you can either use a referral link for the class, or you can use a referral link for the instructor or yourself, which will either show you this particular class or all classes by Megs Hollis. So if you click refer student, earn $10, guess what? It's going to give you a beautiful link over here, or alternatively, you can actually enter email addresses and send out an email which refers people. So I have not yet really experimented too much with these inbuilt tools. I will use it, the link in my top right hand corner button on my YouTube channel, which drives quite a bit of traffic, as well as on my website, on my LinkedIn, and so on and so forth. I do sometimes also include the link in my monthly newsletter on both LinkedIn and the one that I run on MailChimp. So there's also a beautiful section with payment FAQs, which I can load in the meantime. That'll answer any of your questions that you have in relation to getting paid. Then there's a graph on minutes watched, and you can actually distinguish between total minutes and premium minutes, but 99.9% of the time it's going to be premium minutes, because people are only actually able to watch the intro class without having a paid subscription. So I think previously you used to be able to release free classes, and I'm not 100% sure that that's still the case. It seems like they want everyone to be a premium member at this point. You can then also change your graph view to weeks or months to actually see how your earning is doing. As I said, you can see that January is historically a far better month than, let's say, for example, December. And so, of course, that then gets reflected in your earnings as well. And then similarly, students will typically follow the same trends as what the minutes is following. Then you can see your earnings breakdown since inception of your Skillshare teaching account. Although I only had 2 referrals last month, if you go into 2020, when I'm guessing loads of people were still in quarantine and so forth, were watching YouTube videos about how to become instructors, all of a sudden I have 19 referrals, and 28 referrals. So $280 from referrals alone is really good going, I would say. And so some months you'll see that your referrals will do better, and other months you'll see that your royalties do better. The thing that I do also love about Skillshare is they have so many resources from a teaching perspective. I'm going to link my Notion template down below, because if you are familiar with the productivity tool Notion, you will know that you can create insane templates. I've created a whole template just about teaching on Skillshare, so if you are keen to check that out, then please do. It's really a step-by-step undertaking of what is all involved, and most of it is based on the actual Skillshare insight and collateral that they generate from their blog and from their teacher handbook and so forth. And then interspersed in that is actually my own top tips and tricks and hacks that I've kind of just discovered the hard way around. Then you can see here revenue and payments. There's a whole host of more information here which you can easily access, and that will result in you getting paid easily and on time using Skillshare. So in terms of the ease of which one can start making money on Skillshare, it's really easy to get started. You do obviously need to have some understanding of what it means to create a compelling course. So you do need to spend a lot of time creating that course structure, choosing a topic. And I do speak quite a lot about choosing a topic in another video. However, I'm actually planning on doing a dedicated video specifically around choosing a topic. So I hope that these are all going to help you guys. But effectively, what I speak about most times is you really want to find the sweet spot of what you can teach and what's in demand. And then you want to make sure that there are some competitors in that gap as well, because you want there to be kind of a proven business case for you going to all that trouble. I do also always recommend looking at Google Trends to see what's topical. So once you've kind of done your topic stuff, done your course creation stuff, it's all going to come down to how compelling you are as a presenter. They want you to be as engaging as possible. So the classes are typically between 20 and 40 minutes long. You can go very much longer than that, but I think 20 minutes is the shortest. No, 10 minutes is the shortest it can possibly be, but you want a nice sweet spot. And then you do also want to take the trouble to create additional resources and really give as much as you possibly can as a teacher. So it's easy to create your first course, provided that you have some understanding of basic video editing and you're able and comfortable to shoot on a camera. The equipment we can discuss in more detail at another stage as well, but effectively I just have an entry-level Canon mirrorless camera. It's the EOS R, and then I do have a VideoMic Pro, which is made by Rode, which you can actually see over here. So typically that will sit above my head, and that's really what I use in terms of screen recording. I was previously using Loom, but at the moment I'm just using Windows native screen recording functionality, which comes standard. And then to edit, I used Vinci Resolve, but I have also used iMovie in the past. So in terms of technically what's involved, if you have a basic understanding of shooting and editing, it's going to be great and easy. But of course, if each one of those things is a learning curve, then it's actually going to be a whole lot harder. So once you've got it down pat, I would say that you can create a short class, and I say short is an important part of this kind of estimation. You could probably create it in 2 weeks, working on evenings and then possibly both weekends. But if you're looking to create anything longer than that, it's going to take you a little bit more time to get set up. And then also depending on whether you already have slides or not. I like to teach from slides. Other instructors don't have any slides at all. Of course, talking head is also really important because it allows the audience to really get to know you. So in terms of technical difficulty, it's okay. Like, it's easy, you'll manage. It's really about that engagement factor where things become difficult. And then also building your audience over time, that's also difficult. So you have to find different topics that are kind of associated to your original topic, but then different enough that people would want to take both, and then you really start to build out your audience from there. What I would suggest doing is looking at the staff picks, looking at the top teachers on Skillshare, and those are probably your two best indications in terms of how people that do really well on the platform get it right. And then also check out Skillshare's originals, which shows you what their editing style is and the kinds of things that they like their instructors to teach. I really hope this video has helped you guys in terms of understanding how much one can make on Skillshare. It's kind of difficult initially. I found it awkward talking about money up front in terms of how much I earn, but now I really am super positive and super encouraging, you know, in the way that I do share. So I hope that it never comes across badly or in poor taste. It really is meant to help other people know, especially I know a lot of South Africans get in touch with me being like, I didn't know that we could do this. So yeah, whether you're from near or far, I really hope that it does encourage you to teach on Skillshare. It's a really fulfilling and fun journey that I've undertaken, and I really enjoy that I can share it on YouTube too. So until next time, I can't wait to see you in the next videos so that we can keep on doing digital better. Bye!